Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mulroy Bay, where today I'm in the harvester. We are heading over to field 18, which is our other field that's filled with crops, and I'm going to make a mess again. The bales are still a disaster because I haven't really moved them. I did take a couple of others out of the field, and I will get the squirrel chasers at... oh dear. At some point in the near future. Can I even fit through this gate? Possibly. Yes. So, field 18 means I have to drive... oops. There we go. I have to drive right into the town, which means beacon time. And the reason I'm in cab is because it's actually kind of easier to see what on earth I'm going to hit with this thing if I'm in the cab. So let's see. I need to turn down here, and the gate for the field should be pretty much in front of me when I get out here. Whoa. Took the turn a bit too tight. It's a first in a combine. Well, it's a first for me anyway. Usually I end up not taking the turns tight enough and skittering off on the outside. As you may know from me playing racing games, I have a habit of not driving very well. So, there we go. I first need to unfold the implement. I think that's the unfold button I just hit. Yep. So let's turn around. Moving through the fields at the whopping speed of 7 kilometers an hour. I believe this is a bigger field than the one that I've already harvested. It's also after... I also happen to... what on earth? Let's turn on everything here, because I have a feeling I'll need to. There we go. Somewhat fixed. Some parts of this map are a bit difficult to get around, as you may have noticed. I don't have a trailer. Just realised I don't have a trailer down here. That's gonna be an issue. I'm gonna grab a tractor that's up at my farm. Probably the something. A tractor. I don't know which one yet. And what we're going to do is we're going to just immediately sell everything, because I don't want to be shuttling it up and down across the map, basically. Plus we've no real need to be storing crops at the moment. We don't have beef, cattle or pigs or whatever it is on this map. I haven't checked. But there's something that requires grains. And we don't have them yet, so there's no point in storing crops as of yet. Yeah, there's no point in storing crops, so let's just make do with getting rid of, well, selling everything, and then eventually not driving into the water. Then eventually getting things that require us to store the crops. This is not going to work, is it? Okay. So this is a bit close for comfort. I'm going to have to just go maximum steering to try and counteract. Okay. There we go. There we go. So last Monday, or maybe even last Tuesday, depending on what time zone you're in, you'll have seen that I put up a real life video of Cannonball 2015. all the cars leaving. They came to a town near enough to where I live called Cahir in Canterbury, and it was something in the region of 160 to 180 supercars and novelty cars, and a Peterbilt for some reason, and the DeLorean that you probably saw, a Ford GT, and very noisy, very rare, very expensive cars. There was one, you may have noticed that it really stood out, a jet black Koenigsegg Agera, I think it is. I'm not 100% sure on the model name. Jet black Koenigsegg. The reason it was jet black, that wasn't the, there were a few funky looking cars there as well. The reason it was jet black was because it was carbon fibre. And that one car was 2% of all of that car that exists. That model in carbon fibre. There's 50 in the world. And from what I was told, that one car is about €2 million for a car that doesn't have a boot and doesn't really have that much storage space, but has a lot of horsepower and a lot of carbon fibre. And for anybody who doesn't know, nuts, carbon fibre is what Formula 1 cars are made of. If you don't watch Formula 1, you'll surely have been in a plane, because that's what some planes are made out of, especially jet fighters. It is also used for rocketry. It's a really ridiculously advanced composite, and Koenigsegg decided to make a car out of it that can drive on the roads and looks awesome and has about a few hundred horsepower. There was also Pagani Zonda, which was the car that looked Italian. It's one of those few cars that actually looks Italian, other than, you know, the stereotypical Ferraris. They were all beautiful cars. There was also a, and I'm not kidding here, a velvet Porsche. Somebody in their infinite wisdom decided, you know what would be really nice on my Porsche 911 Carrera? Velvet. Apparently that's a thing you can do to cars, is get them wrapped in velvet. And when I saw it at first, because I was there with my parents, I think it was my mother said, "Oh, is that a matte black Porsche?" And I said, No, that's a velvet Porsche. That's velvet for some reason." Yeah. But the cars that were on display, some of them weren't cars. Of course, there was the Peterbilt truck, which that was the first time I've ever in my life been up close and personal with an American truck, an American big rig. Yeah, it's European trucks have nothing on them, and the video I posted was just me standing outside the somewhat famous castle in Cahir. It's been in a few movies and stuff like that, but yeah, the positioning I managed to get was apparently really perfect for a lot of the noises that were happening, because that's where I stood. They came to Cahir last year as well, and I stood in almost the exact same place. And last year it was dry, so coming out of there's actually a small field / parking behind the castle in Cahir, and they were all coming out of that because it was dry and they could get in. But this year it was raining so badly that my waterproof jacket that I was wearing started to leak, and I had to change my jumper as soon as I got back home. It was actually raining so badly that waterproofing was useless. But yeah, the cars, if Like, if like me you're into cars in any way, just if you're in Ireland and you're into cars at all, even if you're into, you know, modified cars, because there were a few there. There was a purpose-built drifter. Well, not purpose-built. It was a Nissan 350Z that was modified into a drifting car. Pro Drift. That was one of the many sponsored cars there. If you enjoy cars or loud noises, or just want to have some sort of street festival going on, or even if you just want to support a good charity, Cannonball.ie is the website for Cannonball Run, and, well, Cannonball Ireland, obviously, and they do European trips and stuff like that, and all of the money they raise, because it's, I was told last year, it's somewhere in the region of €3,000 to €5,000 to register a car for Cannonball Ireland, and all of the money raised goes directly to Make-A-Wish Foundation, which, you know what, if a bunch of really rich guys want to show off their cars, and some of them did hire cars because there were a few that had the same stickers on them, some of them were sponsored, but if a bunch of really rich guys, and some of them were celebrities, there was a couple of, I know of at least one cast member of Coronation Street, a couple of former boy band members and stuff like that, they all wanted to come out and support the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I am going to use this guy. So, you know, it is a good charity. You do get a full day of entertainment. In Care, it was the lunch stop. So they were due to arrive at 1 from Killaloo, I believe it was, or somewhere in Kerry, or Clare, that area of Ireland. And there was a bit of trouble in County Cork, apparently, that held them up for just over an hour. Yes, I couldn't help but find the irony in that. You know, the world's fastest production cars and the world's most powerful production cars and vehicles, and they get held up. You know, they can't show up on time. Most of these cars can easily cruise 160 miles an hour, or 120, or you know, something ridiculous like that, and they couldn't arrive on time. They were actually over an hour late. But when they arrived, they do put on a show. Obviously, unfortunately, because it was so wet, they had to somewhat improvise, and instead of all parking up nice and neatly and compact in a field, they had to just pull up when the car park outside Clare Castle was full, and it was about 1.5 miles long, the entire convoy. So parts of the town that weren't supposed to get closed off had to get closed off so the cars would fit. It resulted in a unique situation where people were literally just standing outside their houses staring at a Ferrari. Apparently an Aston Martin had pulled into somebody's driveway. Yeah, just random things had happened because of the weather, and it was, if you've ever seen Cannonball Run the movie, which you really should if you like cars or comedies or Jackie Chan, because it was one of his first English speaking roles, well, relatively English speaking, because he was playing a Japanese computer dude. I think it was Japanese or Chinese or something. He was playing some computer geek in it. That's a brilliant movie to watch, and it's kind of what the Cannonball Ireland's based off. And of course it's all based off the real Cannonball Run in America, which I believe is a race of some description. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I know the Irish version is just it's a charity run over a weekend, usually around the end of August, start of September. And I've been to it now 3 years in a row, because it was in Cashel County Tipperary 2 years ago, which is also near me. I said, oh, wouldn't it be great if it, you know, was a bit closer, you know, if it came through the same area next year. And it did. And it did again this year, so I was really, really happy. And you know what, just, there is nothing as wonderful to somebody who enjoys cars and speed and noise and that sort of stuff than seeing a 1966 Ford GT40 and just having it trundle past, which is what the start of the video was. The GT40 actually left slightly early for some reason, and I was just kind of getting ready for the grand departure. There was no there was no actual announcement of, hey, the cars will be leaving soon. Everybody just kind of assembled ready for them to leave over the course of about half an hour to an hour. I was one of the first people ready. I missed a few cars on the video, one of which because my phone started acting up. And yes, I do record with my phone because I'm a pro like that. Be glad you didn't get all portrait video, because I was very close to making that mistake. But for somebody who enjoys cars, and I very much do, and enjoys noise, which I very much do, just seeing some of the cars was an absolute thrill. Pagani Zonda, that is an absolute nutcase of a car. It is a Mercedes, a very powerful Mercedes engine that's been tuned up by Pagani in Italy to produce as much power as possible. It's a V12, I believe, and it's been tuned so highly and just so high. It's such a high-strung engine that if you look up a Formula 1 car from the late 80s or Ferrari from the early 90s, from the V12 era of Formula 1, that's the kind of sound it has, and the volume is deafening. The first time I saw it was on Top Gear, and I was just like, wow, that does sound like a Formula 1 car. And I don't have any Formula 1 car noises in my memory banks to compare it to, unfortunately, in terms of volume, but in terms of just the raw sound, it is a Formula 1 car. And one of my absolute dreams is to see a Formula 1 V10 or V8 on the go. The V6s. The V6 turbos, while I do like them, I do genuinely like the current engine formula in Formula 1 because it is a throwback to the 80s and there is the raw grunt to the engines again. It just doesn't... Number one, Formula 1 is too predictable now. The rules, quote unquote, they brought in are gimmicky and nonsense, like, oh, DRS, drag reduction system, in Monza, where it's all about slipstreaming and getting as little drag as possible. Which, hey, you got DRS, you've got a pass, well done. It's good on tracks where traditionally it's been ridiculously hard to pass, like the Hungaroring. It actually improves the racing there and destroys the racing everywhere else. And the ridiculous tyres there. I'm gonna be blunt and say if, and this is something that could get me in trouble if Formula 1 management or Bernie Ecclestone or one of his cronies is watching, but if Formula 1 chooses Pirelli as its tyre supplier for 2017, which is the next slot open, Pirelli are stuck for 2016 already. If they choose Pirelli and say we want, you know, design to degrade tyres again, and just keep up the same tyre silliness they have, somebody is going to get killed. The current tyres in Formula 1 are unsafe. They are not fit for purpose. The Belgian Grand Prix at Spa proved that there is absolutely no excuse for the amount of cuts there were in tyres. And tyre failures, there is no excuse for it. Yeah, I get that they're trying to build tyres that intentionally go off after a few laps. But Pirelli themselves said after the race, well, there is a small chance. Actually, they didn't say there's a small chance. Some tyres may explosively fail once they reach the end of their life, with no warning whatsoever. That's not designed to degrade tyres, that's tyres that are going to flat out murder somebody sooner or later. And if Pirelli think that's safe for Formula 1, which quite regularly breaks, I think on every track it breaks 150 miles an hour as a minimum speed. Well, a minimum maximum speed. The only reason it's so low, it sounds high, but it's low in Formula 1 terms. The record for a Formula 1 car all-time speed is something like 300 miles an hour. But they normally top out at about 200 to 220 miles an hour. The reason the 150 is a minimum, maximum, if that makes sense, is the street circuits like Monaco, which it's a boring race, but it's the most prestigious Formula 1 race there is. There's Singapore, which is the Monaco of the East, I guess. Basically, Singapore wanted to emulate Monaco in every way because Singapore has a load of casinos, as does Monaco, and Singapore now has a Formula 1 street race, which actually I like the Singapore track. The Singapore F1 track, I don't watch F1 that much anymore, probably won't watch the Singapore Grand Prix, which was on last week. Which is, well, the weekend just passed, I guess. I'm recording this last week, so I know I'm recording this compared to you guys. Today is the 14th? 15th. It's Tuesday. Why did I think today was Monday? Today's the 15th of September, so whatever date this goes up, I have no idea. I think it's going up May something. I mean, it's going to be nearly October by the time you guys see this. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to leave the video here. In the next episode, you know what, I'm going to do some off-screen work. Number one, I'm going to finish harvesting Field 18 because I don't think you guys want to see another harvest all that soon. I'm going to store up all the grain because of reasons. And in the next video, I'll be sending it all off and figuring out something else to do. I guess. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.